killer. But the truth is more complex. The real question isn't what Askeladd does, but why he does it. This journey is about uncovering the child, the man, and the myth behind the ash-streaked grin. It's about the mask, the shadow, and the soul of a man born Lucius Artorius Castus. Who is Askeladd beneath all the masks?
Askeladd appears as a contradiction. On the surface, he's the Danish Viking who murdered a man of peace and forged his own legend. Yet his eyes, cold blue and calculating, betray something deeper. He claims descent from a Roman British king. He speaks of destiny and prophecy. But destiny for whom? He's a mercenary captain who leads by fear and respect. His band follows him through blood and battle. They call him sly, charismatic, lucky. He knows men's faces and hearts at a glance, calculates who they are by the lines on their brows. Yet ask them why they follow him, and they'll stammer that it's his confidence, his daring. Askeladd's legend grows. But is it truth, or simply the mask he's perfected? Most viewers misunderstand him. Is he a monster? A hero? An opportunist? The answer lies buried in his past, in memories coated with ash and anger.
Imagine a ragged boy, shivering by a hearth, soot-blackened hands clutching a crude blade. This boy is Askeladd. Born Lucius Artorius Castus, to a Welsh noblewoman named Lydia and a Viking chieftain named Olaf. He grew up unloved and unnamed. From the start, he was caught between worlds, his mother's Celtic blood, his father's Norse steel. His childhood was one of hardship. Lydia, strong-willed and proud, told her son stories of a Roman ancestor, the King Artorius, who would one day return to free the Welsh from suffering. Little Askeladd believed that myth, clinging to it like a lifeline as he labored in the ashen depths of Viking slums. He scrubbed floors and stoked fires, covered in ash. Hence the nickname Askeladd, the Ashen Lad. Attachment theory tells us that a child's bond with caregivers shapes their soul. Askeladd's first bond was with Lydia, loving but unstable. She was his world. Lydia tried to protect him, but history turned cruel. When Askeladd was 11, his mother's mind broke under the strain. Dressed in white rags, she wandered the village, calling for a hero who would come for her. When she saw Olaf, the man who gave her a child, she mistook him for the savior Artorius. In that moment, young Askeladd saw two truths. The hero of legend would never come, and the normal man he called father would kill the only person who ever loved him. With no choice, Askeladd reached for a sword, despite never having held one, and attacked Olaf to save his mother. It felt to him as natural as taking a breath. He fought with a furious grace, nearly matching the seasoned chieftain. But of course, the boy was no match. Attachment was broken in that fight. Olaf realized Askeladd was his son, but now the chieftain's love came at a price. To free Lydia from slavery, Olaf took the boy under his roof. For 2 years, Askeladd played the perfect son and slave. He cleaned Olaf's hall and amused him with false deference, all while plotting revenge. He learned to read people, to flatter them, to hide the raw pain behind his eyes. Then one night, still a child, he struck again. Sneaking into Olaf's bedchamber, young Askeladd stabbed the sleeping chieftain. He framed a half-brother, bound the household with guilt, and seized Olaf's life and legacy. At 13, with his father dead, Askeladd became a man, inheriting rank, wealth, and a penitent younger brother.
but he was only a boy, now hardened. It was a brutal coming of age.
Lydia soon returned to Wales and died not long after. Askeladd spent the next 19 years leading raiding Vikings, wearing Viking chains on his ankles and Welsh fury in his heart. Trauma and loss molded him. Attachment was no longer his guide. Survival was. He became a loner with many masks, but none of them was his true face. Danger is nothing new to Askeladd, but rather than freeze or flail, he learned to think. In a world where wolves roam, he became the clever wolf. He read eyes and sinew. He predicted moves before swords were drawn. This was his cognitive empathy, the ability to understand another's mind. He knew anger, fear, pride in a glance. Cognitive empathy means putting yourself in another's head, knowing their fears and desires. It's different from emotional empathy, feeling what they feel. Askeladd had the former in spades. When he later manipulated Thorfinn or even King Canute, it was because he grasped their motives as if they were his own. He could make a man think his secrets were exposed just by a word or look. Machiavellian intelligence took root in him as survival, not villainy. Machiavellianism is a personality trait of high-level scheming and cold calculation. The man Machiavelli praised in The Prince was someone who did whatever necessary to seize and keep power. Askeladd learned early, the world doesn't reward kindness to the weak. His Machiavellian traits, ruthless self-interest, strategic deceit, seeing people as pieces on a board, kept him alive. Imagine surviving an endless sea of enemies. Askeladd became a strategist and chameleon. He could smile warmly, then split a man's throat in the next breath. He kept his voice calm and his eyes steady, even when he ordered a massacre. Because he knew predicting behavior and playing the part gave him control. Stories from the saga show him doing exactly that. He befriended flattery and deception like old friends. Yet remember, this wasn't born of sadism, but necessity. In childhood, protection required cunning. In adulthood, leadership required it. The ability to manipulate, to feign boredom or arrogance to lower a foe's guard, it's Askeladd's weapon of choice. But manipulation isn't evil by default. Sometimes it's survival. A moth circling a flame will die. A spider weaving its web will survive. Askeladd became the spider in every human encounter. He deceived to protect whales, lied to save his skin. His Machiavellian mind, armed with cognitive empathy, made him unbeatable. Every story has two faces. Askeladd's face is a mask, and behind it lie many masks. Carl Jung called these masks the persona, the social face we present, often hiding our true self. For Askeladd, the persona is literal armor. Consider his roles: Viking warlord, mercenary leader, mentor, Welsh patriot, son, killer, kingmaker. Each is a persona he plays to the world. To the Danes, he is Viking-born Olaf's son. To the Welsh, he claims the blood of Artorius. To his crew, he is bold captain. To Thorfinn, he is master. To Canute, he is savior in disguise. But who is he when no one watches? Persona is a mask to fit society, Jung said. Askeladd wears his with perfection. He puts on arrogance to hide fear, humor to hide pain, cruelty to hide compassion. He constantly dissimulates. It's as if every mirror showed the actor, not the man. In Jungian terms, Askeladd's psyche is fragmented. The persona faces Viking for his men, schemer for his enemies, savior for the Welsh. The shadow, the survivor of trauma, the vengeful son, the man who still cared for Wales. Did he ever know himself? Possibly not until the end.
Jung wrote that the moment our persona breaks down is when we encounter our shadow. Askeladd's final hour, feigning madness and then murdering Sweyn, was that breakdown. He shed all pretenses and revealed his face, the self-styled King Artorius reborn. In that act, he merged mask and man. By impersonating the legend, he became the legend. For that brief moment, his persona and shadow united. The masquerade ended. As Jung put it, integrating the shadow gives a person body, a wholeness. And indeed, Askeladd, moments before death, felt whole. He laughed and was free, truly free, because he knew who he was at last. Neither just a Viking nor an ordinary man, but Wales's quiet king.
Why would skilled fighters follow a man like Askeladd? Confidence, strategy, and spectacle for one. Leadership isn't just title, it's how you wield it. Askeladd had a potent mix: unwavering confidence under fire, a brilliant mind for tactics, and a touch of cruelty that kept people alive by fear. He wasn't known for kindness, but he was known for competence. His charisma was undeniable. Charisma often means making others feel seen and capable. Askeladd never hesitated to show confidence, even in dire moments. He let Torgrim and Atli think they were valued, then taught them lessons when they betrayed him. He gave dying men respect, allowed Bjorn to have a warrior's death. These acts of seeming honor drew loyalty and pity. We cannot cite textbooks for every move, but modern research on leaders shows one thing: people follow those who make them feel a part of something bigger and who deliver results. Under Askeladd, even mercenaries saw the fruits of their raids. He held territory, earned gold, and created a sense of destiny. On top of that, his unpredictability, laughing during danger, acting bored during adrenaline, made him fascinating. Soldiers follow competent leaders who feel different, and Askeladd cultivated both.
There is no more tortured duo in Vinland Saga than Thorfinn and Askeladd. From the moment Thor's fell, Askeladd became the target of Thorfinn's vengeance, yet also his unwanted mentor. This bond is a twisted one. Psychologists call this dynamic trauma bonding, when a victim develops attachment to their abuser. Thorfinn's world was shattered by Askeladd's sword. His father dead, his principles gone. He latched onto Askeladd as a purpose for living. Someday kill him. That desire to avenge became a fixation. Askeladd, for his part, treated Thorfinn alternately as irritant and protege. He mocked him, but also taught him. He sent him on impossible missions, and then would occasionally give him a thoughtful word. At times, Askeladd genuinely cared for Thorfinn. We see glimmers. In a quiet moment, he asks the boy, "What will you live for when I'm gone?" He warns Thorfinn about wasting his life on hate. In many ways, Askeladd became a twisted father figure. He understood Thorfinn's rage, perhaps saw his own younger face in him. The futility of revenge. That message was Askeladd's legacy. This dynamic is complex. Thorfinn followed to get duels, but often saved Askeladd at moments. Askeladd, in turn, relied on Thorfinn's skills. Every blow Thorfinn survived, every lesson he learned in battle, was from Askeladd's band. It was a warped apprenticeship under the hammer of violence. Ultimately, Thorfinn could never truly hate Askeladd, because in spite of it, this Viking captain filled a void. He was the first real person in Thorfinn's life to show him any kind of purpose after Thor's. It was by Askeladd's design that Thorfinn grew into a warrior, and, ironically, into a thoughtful man. Trauma bonding kept Thorfinn tethered, but it also, in the end, led him to a new path once Askeladd was gone. Askeladd's last act was pure, contradictory poetry. King Sweyn declared war on Wales. Sweyn's army would crush the very people Askeladd still loved. his only true family. When Sweyn mockingly named Wales a bastard god, Askeladd snapped. He plunged a sword into the king's heart, saving Wales, but dooming himself. In that final moment, Askeladd reclaimed his name. He became Artorius Reborn, to give his people one chance at freedom. The masks dropped. He laughed maniacally as he slaughtered for Wales, and then felt alive, liberated. It was victory and suicide entwined. What was he searching for? Meaning. Viktor Frankl taught that humans crave a purpose greater than themselves, especially when life is cruel. Askeladd found that meaning in protecting Wales. By sacrificing himself, be a true warrior, venture beyond. Those were his final words. In them, we hear every truth he'd ever hidden: mercy, hope, legacy. His life suddenly... "Remember, Thorfinn," he says in his last breath, "your true battle is to go further, be more than what this world teaches." He doesn't say, "you must kill," or "you must serve." His last words are a challenge to live. Askeladd's life answers the question we started with. Who is he beneath the masks? The answer? He's every mask he ever wore, and none of them. He's the boy who loved his mother, the son who killed his father, the Viking who hated violence, the Welshman who became king for a day. He is human. And in the end, that is his lasting message. To be human is to be complicated, to wear many faces, to search for meaning until the very last breath. And if we listen, we might carry a piece of Askeladd's wisdom forward, into our own battles beyond. We are all wanderers of an endless battlefield, he'd say. Make sure you know which one is yours. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Askeladd's psychology, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel reach more people who love stories like these. And if you're new here, subscribe to Arch Characters for more cinematic analyses of the greatest fictional minds ever written. Now, I want to hear from you. Which character should I analyze next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. I read every one of them, and your recommendation might become the next documentary. Until then, keep looking beyond the story, because every great character has a mind worth understanding.